Ahead of the Curve is finally on Netflix, a perfect watch for Lesbian Visibility Week. More than 3 decades ago, long before the public came out for Melissa Etheridge and Katie Lang, the rise of lesbian chic and mainstream brands embracing pride, Franco Stevens conceived an ambitious plan. Her vision was to introduce the first glossy lifestyle magazine tailored for lesbians. Initially named Deneuve, and I had many copies of that magazine upon its establishment in 1990, the magazine underwent a name change following a legal dispute with French actress Catherine Deneuve. The documentary Ahead of the Curve delves deep into the origin story of this groundbreaking magazine. Through insightful interviews with key figures such as Stevens, Etheridge, the first major celebrity featured on their cover, poet Jewelle Gomez, and actress, singer, comedian Lea DeLaria. The documentary provides a comprehensive look at the magazine's evolution and impact. Ahead of the Curve, co-directed by Jen Rainin and Rivkah Beth Medow, initially premiered in 2020. The documentary marked its Netflix debut this week, coinciding with the start of Lesbian Visibility Week. It is a must-watch.
Please welcome our panel of Power Dykes, Franco Stevens, publisher and editor-in-chief of Deneuve, the hottest lesbian magazine.
There wasn't a glossy magazine for lesbians anywhere.
She decided, I'm gonna make one. That's total rock and roll.
I love my job. I love my job. I love my job.
Whoever was in Curve, like that was it. That's how you knew what was going on.
Like the latest musicians,
in terms of like
latest artists.
Yeah.
It was very hard to be out and open in the late 80s.
I think we should do away with gays if possible.
We did not see ourselves represented in any positive mainstream way.
I was the one that was supposed to start this magazine.
She got the idea and then she's just like, oh my God, I need money.
So I just applied for a bunch of credit cards all on the same day. I just cashed them all in.
And there they come.
My horses came in first and second. At the end of the day, I had enough money to start the magazine.
You know what the difference is between parsley and pussy?
What, Franco?
I don't know. I don't eat parsley.
When the magazine put me on the cover, it allowed women in our own community to see a well-spoken, funny, intelligent, charming, gentlemanly butch, which is basically who I am, unless you cross my path.
Just the power of seeing me.
In the last 24 hours, I heard this thing that I never wanted to hear, that the magazine could be coming to an end.
We live in a systemic, racist, sexist, anti-LGBTQ world, and we have to fight it every day.
We want the place at the table we deserve.
Visibility looks like us being able to be the authors of our own experience.
Every time we put out a magazine, it felt groundbreaking.
What's happening here right now is Franco's legacy.
Now, I was one of the lucky ones that saw it when it first came out. I was also there when Deneuve magazine first launched, and let me tell you, we were excited about it. There wasn't anything else like that for the lesbian community. And when this lawsuit with Catherine Deneuve was going on, so many of us were just so upset, and we couldn't understand why she was allowed just because it was her name. I mean, it could have been any other word, but Curve survived. I have the utmost respect for Franco. She has been through hell and back, and she really is a warrior and a fighter. And I encourage even the guys, I really encourage you to, especially since it's on Netflix now, I encourage you to see it. I enjoyed it, and it, you know, it brought back memories to me, because that was kind of my, when, you know,
Yeah.
Well,
I was in my
remember
30s
correctly
back then.
that Deneuve, they named it Deneuve because
of a movie,
The Hunger, with David Bowie and Susan Sarandon, and Catherine Deneuve played a lesbian vampire in the movie.
Okay.
And it was really it was kind of a compliment to her in a way, so it did seem weird that she sued. Also, it's interesting too, because I think that Curve arrived, or Deneuve at the time, because Out wasn't really representing women the way it should have been. Well, The Advocate did it a little more, but Out was supposed to be like the new monthly glossy. Right? Not even close. Yeah.
No, but I'm like, exactly what you're saying. Like just growing up in the 90s and just knowing that I was different, knowing that I was gay already, right? Not being out, but just knowing it, right? And I looked for a publication that would give me some kind of indication. You know, we didn't have Google to go to, right? So The Advocate and Out and all those things were so male dominated, you know? Like maybe a lesbian story here and there. But when Curve came out, it was like, wow. There's a publication all about us from beginning to end, you know, and unfortunately because of that, people thought that its demise was likely, and here we are decades later. You know, I've been blessed to be in Curve a couple times when I lived in New York City and when I did the Dyke March and stuff like that, and they really do cover everything. And in this day and age where everything is digital and everybody gets their information online, the fact that they've still outlived many other publications that have tried to do what they're doing is awesome. And I love me a documentary. Like, how cool is that we get to find out about our history? Our history is being erased at every corner, you know? So we need to like really depend on documentaries like this to really find out whose shoulders we're standing on.
On Saturday too, this will give us, there is a lot of lesbian history and culture, but it gets erased. Because the gay male culture is so dominant.
Is it more overshadowed than erased? I mean,
it's overshadowed, but I think as younger people are not identifying themselves as lesbians, or they don't like to use that word. I love the word lesbian. So when people say, "Ooh, but that word," I'm like, "What do you mean that word?"
Yeah.
And to have these kinds of things documented, I think it's a fear of a lot of the older women who I work with a lot in my work with LGBT seniors, that you hardly hear lesbian anymore.
Well, you tell them you're a proud ass lesbian.
I used to be a tomboy, but now I'm a full-grown lesbian.
I also want to ask all the gay men out there, you may feel like this film isn't for you because you can't relate to it, but it's moments like these where you get the chance to watch documentaries of like the lesbian journey, especially in the 90s, to help not really close the divide, because there's been a divide with lesbian and gay men culture for a very long time. But these are the baby steps you take. Learn from their side, hear their voices, see what they've gone through that you're probably blissfully unaware of because you're over here get your ass ate at, what's the 90s gay bar?
Coliseum.
Getting your ass ate at Coliseum. And they're going through this. Absolutely not. Like, I implore you gay men to just like watch the documentary, hear their voices. Lesbians, I know a lot of them, they love us. They just stay at home. So
not all stay at home. Okay?
This one does.
Okay, that one does, this one doesn't. But it is Lesbian Visibility Week. So, you know, conversations like this are super important. The fact that a lot of Gen Zers, right, don't know that lesbians were the ones helping the gay men during the AIDS epidemic. Okay, lesbians were the ones at the side of the hospital beds, all right? The divide happened after that somewhere, you know, and we've got to figure out how to get that divide closed up, because without each other, and that means all the acronym, we're fucked.
Right.
You can quote me on that.
We gotta come together.